This is Algebra 2, Lesson 19 on page 94. Value word problems. So the only difference with this lesson is the problems that we have worked are now in words. Remember when we had something like, and I don't know that you could have 40 of them and come up with that little bit of money, but let's say 10. We'll do 10. Right? And remember I said this first equation is how many? That's if I were to count how many coins there are, then there would be 10 coins. I don't know how many nickels and how many dimes make up that 10 coins, but I know that if I were just to count them, that's how many coins I would have. And this equation is how much. What is the value of those nickels and dimes? So if I multiply the value of a nickel, which is 5 cents, times how many nickels I have, plus if I multiply and add to that 10 cents times how much, times how many dimes I have, then the yield is $2.50. Yes, Therese?
Okay, I'm just asking, that's 50, it's $2.50?
Correct. I've already eliminated the decimals at this point.
Okay.
Okay, this is what the problems looked like before. Now they're going to be in words. And remember, they use the subscript variables. When we're talking nickels and dimes, I don't use the subscript variables. So look at 19.1 on page 94. It says, what do you think that word is? That name? How do you think you pronounce that? Karamagoo. That's what we're going with. Karamagoo had 50 nickels and dimes. So which equation does that give me? 50 nickels and dimes. Is it the how many or how much? How many? Like we're counting them and there's 50 of them. You following that? So the equation I write is the number of nickels. It was nickels and dimes, right? Yes. If I add them up, there are 50 coins total. How much is always going to have a dollar sign with it? Okay? Whose value is $4. Well, there we go. Whose value is $4. All right, so if I take 5 cents and multiply it by how many nickels I have, add to that 10 cents times how many dimes, and then your upper level mathematics, there's always a zero placeholder for the units. It's going to equal $4, and I must write the cents. I can't just write a 4. Then it says, how many of each did he have? So we've already learned to use substitution and or rather elimination. But before I do that, we've also learned this. This was in a previous lesson. Before I look at this equation, I'm going to eliminate the decimal. Before I eliminate the decimal, I have to make sure every term has the same number of decimal places, and they all have 2. So I just eliminate the decimals, effectively multiplying by 100 to move that decimal place over twice. All right, so now I have the 2 equations, the how many and the how much. How shall we solve for how many nickels or how many dimes? Therese?
Substitution.
You want to use substitution. What substitution do you want to use?
The top equation.
The top equation. Which one you want to solve for?
D.
You want to solve for D. So we're going to subtract n on both sides. And we're going to have the number of dimes equals 50 minus the number of nickels we have. Make sense? Right? Does that make sense so far? So for dimes, we're going to substitute 50 minus n. All right, so we're going to leave, and it goes into this how much equation, the value. So we leave 5n. For dimes, we substitute 50 minus n equals 400. And then we follow algebra rules, right? Get rid of parentheses by distributing that 10 to both of the terms. So what we have, 500 minus 10n is 400. We subtract the 500 on both sides. Can you have a negative number of coins? No, good answer. Combine our like terms. On the left, we have negative 5n. On the right, we have negative 100. Divide both sides by negative 5. What is 100 divided by 5? How many nickels in a dollar? 20. Thank you. So if I have 20 nickels, then how many dimes do I have? How do you know? Because 50 is the total, right? So I have 30 dimes if I have 20 nickels, because the total of them must be 50. All right, so it's not always just used with money. However, in the real world, these type of problems are always with money. Sometimes, like 19.2, we use it with maybe fish or things that are sold. Maybe I'll leave that one up on the board. All right, so look at example 19.2. It said the fishmonger sold codfish for 6 pence each. Okay, my rule is write as you read. All right, so our codfish are 6 pence. And I'm going to label it C. And mussels for 1. That's just like a nickel is worth 5 cents, a dime is worth 10 cents. Cod is worth 6 pence, mussels worth $1. If Harriet bought a total of 26 items, which equation is that? How many? How much? How many? So if I add up the number of codfish to the number of mussels, I have 26 total items, right? And spent 86 pence. What's the 86 pence? How much? So I have to multiply 6 times the number of codfish plus 1 times the number of mussels, and what I spend in total is 86 pence. How many codfish did she buy? We just want codfish. So, Sarah, what should I do first?
Should rearrange the top one.
Rearrange the top one. How would you like to rearrange it?
Do C equals 26 minus M.
So C equals 26 minus M. That's right. Rearrange that top one so you're solving. Yes?
But we can use elimination.
You can use elimination. You absolutely can. You can eliminate the M, but we're going to go this route. So we have 6 times 26 minus M plus 1M equals 86. What's 6 times 26? Let's do it in our heads.
156.
Is it 156? 26 times 6. 6 times 6 is 36. 6 times 6 is 36. Carry your 3. He's right, but I want everybody to do this. Carry your 3. 6 times 2. And 3 more. All right, minus 6M plus M equals 86. Subtract that 156 from both sides. Combining our like terms on the left. Negative 5M. What's 156 minus 86? 70. Negative 70. Is that correct? Dividing both sides by negative 5. How many mussels do we have? How many muscles? What's 70 divided by 5? What? 14. If I have 14 muscles, then how many codfish do I have? 12, because the sum total must be 26. All right, the second part of this lesson goes back to geometry. I'm going to go ahead and teach, and then we'll go back and do the examples, okay? It goes back to geometry. So we'll review it real quickly, and then you guys can work the practice problems. And the title of it is Angle, Angle means angle, angle, angle. Well, that is true. What does that say? If two angles in a triangle are congruent, then all three angles in those two triangles are congruent, right? It's sort of logical. If two angles in one triangle equal two angles in the other triangle, then the third ones also must equal. You following that? When we have angle, angle, what do we have? Yes, Therese. Similar. When we have similar triangles, what do we know to be true about the sides? They're proportionate. That's right. They are in the same proportion. All right, so look at 19.3. All right, so the way that I work these is I look at corresponding sides. All right, so we'll look at the sides in the left triangle. We'll look at the sides in the right triangle. All right, I'm just going to label them 4, 5, 7. They're all given. What side in the right triangle corresponds to the 4 in the left? Ashley? 6. What corresponds to the 5? Yes. X corresponds to the 5. What corresponds to the 7? The one that's left, right? Y. Okay, so we are always going to use the 4 and the 6 to solve for both the X and the Y. And you're just going to set up a proportion. So initially, we just do 4/5 equals 6 over X. And how do we solve for this? We cross multiply. And then to solve for Y, we just ignore the middle and we say 4 over 7 equals 6 over Y. And we cross multiply to solve for Y.